Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished and senior professional from Bologna, Italy, Ilaria Distefano. Ilaria, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashutosh.
Ilaria is a leadership coach and a facilitator. She's a certified hypnotherapist and a researcher, and she's the founder of Shifting Together and the co-founder of the Empire of Love initiative. So, Ilaria, my first question to you, tell me a little bit about your own journey and what led you to specialize in leadership coaching and mentoring.
Thank you for asking about my journey. Since I was very little, I've always taken care of others and their joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known, since early in my studies that I wanted to become a coach.
Right.
So early that truly coaching didn't exist as a practice in my country. In Italy, coaching arrived only years later. But then I traveled the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I realized that I really met the people and the places that would allow me to fulfill this calling.
Mm-hmm.
That truly is about walking with others on a path of self-realization, self-realization, self-expression in service. And especially, life actually showed me that I was to walk with others on this path, especially through the most, I would say, difficult or critical passages in life.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most defining passages of my life was 8 years ago, the passing of one of my children.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My twins, 8 days after they were born, and, as you can imagine, it completely changed my life. It still is, in a way, the tragedy of our family.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I feel really I was blessed to have the tools and the inspiration and the guidance to walk that path that truly became a pathway for growth. My life expanded in many ways because of that dark passage where truly, I found myself in the most immense joy and the most abysmal grief at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's now it is very important for me to support others through, phases, difficult phases, and growing through those phases, actually.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing this story. Thank you. My next question, Ilaria, is what are some unique challenges that leaders face during times of transformation, and how do you help them?
So I would say one of the main challenges is losing the way, because when we lose the way, we lose ourselves, right? So we lose the clarity and the focus and the heart, really, and the courage to live our life, right? And pursue our mission in life, I would say. And so the way I help them is really, back to the foundation, I want to say, right? Cultivating this sense of groundedness and, and really, I truly believe, especially in our times, it's so important to cultivate a sense of sufficient energy level, right? That allows us to remain grounded and centered in the chaos, in the midst of chaos. So now, research shows us what millenary wisdom traditions like India, have been teaching us forever, right? So all this idea of mindfulness, of meditation, right? Even just yoga, right? How important that is to incorporate in our lives. So to be this person who can go through transformations and complexity.
Interesting. And how does your work integrate universal laws and the concept of leadership as love?
Thank you for asking. I really care about these aspects, So again, research shows us that, at the fundamental level, we are all energy, we are all one, right? There is no separation between the personal and the universal. So the cosmic laws and dynamics governing, big systems, right, also apply to every living being. And truly, when we adopt this perspective of oneness, we come to realize that in a way, the energy that runs this unity in diversity is love, right? How can I not love a part of myself? And so it's really when we source our actions, our decisions, our leadership in this sense of big love, right? That our leadership can truly become an incredibly transformative power. And we see that, I'm blessed to work with this concept with Sylvie Lemuzik from Norway and Gabriela Fenesi from Hungary, who we've been in conversation with this beautiful space of yours. And so we are co-stewarding this initiative we call the Empire of Love. And it's really about getting to know more, right, and embody more of our capacity of being love in action. And so we really love to gather with other leaders and boards in organizations, who are committed to this. And we see all the beauty that can emerge in different systems.
Well said. Well said. My next question, Ilaria, is how does your own academic background, including your PhD, enhance your coaching and mentoring practice?
Well, I think being an intuitive person and creative person, I've always needed to reassure and nurture my left brain as well. And so for me, studying has always helped really learning more about theories and empirical data, right, that could serve me in my work, in what I really wanted to contribute.
Right.
And especially with my PhD, I was so fortunate to encounter action research as an epistemology and a methodology. So it's really about researching, so learning by doing and developing. So as a coach, it was very natural for me to embrace this methodology. And because my interests have always gravitated around human development and systems development, I was able to research what I really cared about, and particularly during my PhD. So I started very meaningful work around grief. And so this whole idea and experience of growth through grief. So how does that work, right? What is this? And I'm still very blessed to continue this work with Angela Amoroso from San Diego. We're building together a program that not only helps others through grief, but also help others being this beneficial presence for people who are moving through grief, And so this is becoming, more and more important in my life. And I continued during my PhD, especially as a coach. I really designed my dissertation around our personal growth as instruments of evolution for others. So my research questions basically gravitated around, so how can we keep growing, right, as coaches, as people who serve other people's growth and other systems growth. And so I started my first community of inquiry and practice. It's something that I'm still doing, and especially with Empire of Love now, we are really gathering leaders in the spirit, right? So how can we keep learning more about ourselves and others, of course, and growing by doing so, evolving by doing so.
Amazing. Ilaria, you're also a hypnotherapist. Tell me about how hypnotherapy helps your coaching.
It's all very much woven into my work today. At the very foundation, I would say that hypnosis is nothing more than opening up enough to access, the immense, infinite reservoir, right, of creative resources and, and really creativity and genius, right, that we have available, let's say, in our unconscious, collective unconscious, we could call it like that. And so, now, of course, we could do a proper kind of hypnotherapy session, but I really love to incorporate this opening in conversational ways or through simple practices into any kind of facilitation with, one-to-one or group facilitation. Because I really think, again, right, it's tapping into our source, the source of who we are, right, and what we are. So it would be a pity not to work from that space.
Absolutely. And can you tell me a little bit more about how you integrate whole person and whole system approaches in
Mm.
your own developmental work?
Mm. Yeah, well, it's really about awareness. I really believe with whether we work with one person or with a whole system, it starts with the people who form that system,
Yep.
right? And so it starts with our own awareness, our own self-awareness. The more we become present to what goes on inside of us, right? Our feelings, our thoughts, our sensations, the more we can become present and attuned to what is around us, so the people around us. And then this awareness ripples out into, right, our systems so that we can have a better sense of who we are as a system as well as a whole. And, again, back to this sense of cultivating the sense of presence, right?
Amazing. What strategies do you use to create awareness and drive meaningful action with your clients?
Hmm. Well, I don't know if it's a strategy, but it certainly starts with slowing down, especially in our world today, right? Slowing down, making space to connect and just to receive, to be able to receive all the information that is there, right? That we have available when we just take the time to be curious, right?
Yeah.
So it really starts with that.
Can you give me an example of how you would do something like this?
You know, I so it can be very easy, right, with in a coaching session to really create what we could call respirations, right? Kind of taking a breath. And so creating a space for silence, right? Or even, for example, at the beginning, just beginning with a landing together, and listening, right, into the silence together. So to create the quality of presence to be more attuned, right, to one another and again, right, to all the possibilities that are there, right? And it's beautiful. Even with in group settings, I love to begin with moments of silence together. It really changes, sets a different tone, and it creates the condition for a different work.
Fascinating. What role does cultural diversity play in your coaching style, given your international experience?
Yeah, well, I've lived myself in different countries and I've been working with people from, all geographies, all industries and so I really think it truly is a blessing because I really think this fuels my curiosity. We're so different and this idea of getting to know more of humanity, right? Of who we are as humanity is beautiful. And at the same time, it's so humbling because we are so different. And so I really love this aspect of, let's see who we're going to meet today, right? With this openness. And at the same time, another thing that I'm always in awe of is truly when we go at the heart of who we are. So our values, what really matters for us, right? We find the same ingredients, right? It's really, we all long for love and for, becoming ourselves who we truly are and belonging to something bigger. So it's also this kind of, unity and diversity that is very present.
Yeah, well said. Can you also share some insights into how you navigate coaching leaders through planetary or societal crises?
Mhm. Thank you for asking, especially at these times, right? I think that two ingredients are really fundamental. One is human connection, and so I'm very, again, blessed to do this work that is highly relational, right? To really connecting with others and connecting people, because I really think that human connection is key in traversing, difficulties. And the other aspect is, again, awareness and knowing more of who we are and more of ourselves. So getting to know, our patterns, our reactivity, especially in difficult times, right? And so be able to do something about that and maybe change our behaviors, do something that serves better. So again, this aspect of, knowing ourselves better in order to be better versions of ourselves.
Amazing. And how do you help leaders balance their personal growth with their organizational goals?
Hmm. That's another good question. You
Mhm.
know, I really believe that every environment we are in is, you know, we can learn from any kind of environment.
Mhm.
There's always a possibility for growth, for learning in any environment.
Yeah.
And at some point, right, we need to be aligned, I would say, right, with the values of our organizations.
Hmm.
It's always very important to check in with ourselves. Is this still a game I want to play, right? Because yeah, it has to be a game we want to play, right? If we really want to express ourselves and
Hmm.
serve the system we're in. So yes, knowing that we can really, and I really believe it's important, even before, right, we might decide that our organization is not, you know, our organization anymore, the one where we might feel, you know, completely at ease and really contributing. But I really insist on the aspect that, okay, but maybe there's something we can learn from this difficult phase or from this, you know, complex or difficult organization, right? Maybe there's something we want to carry with us when we go where life calls us, right?
Hmm.
So again, this threshold monitoring and exam inquiring right into our experience around this
Amazing.
threshold.
Amazing. Thank you. My next question is, what do you find most rewarding
Mhm.
about guiding leaders through their own personal and professional transitions?
Mhm. Well, first of all, is really getting to know more of who we are as
Yeah.
people, you know, and so this sense of yes, knowing more of humanity. And as I was saying, you know, at the very beginning, it's about joy, right? And witnessing increased joy, increased fulfillment,
Hmm.
and through self-expression and self-realization. It's so beautiful. I really like to use this expression, you know, following our current of joy in
Hmm.
whatever circumstances, right? And so I guess this is my reward. This is, you know, a beautiful aspect
Yeah.
of my work.
Yeah. Well said. So I have time for three more questions for you. Can you talk a little bit about the significance of embodiment and co-creative leadership in your
Mm,
work?
Thank you. Yes, it's another important question, and especially in academic settings, you know, we we mostly work from the neck upwards,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
our head, our thinking mind that is at work, and it's not, of course, it's an illusion, right? We really need our whole body. So I love to talk about an embodied experience and anchoring into our embodied experience as
Hmm.
a whole person experience, right?
Hmm.
So our thinking, our feeling, our sensing and acting need to be part of our leadership.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we forget important parts,
Yeah.
right? And so when we can act and really, you know, show up, I would say, fully with
Hmm.
all our colors and all our dimensions, of
Hmm.
course, we can better co-create with others because
Yeah.
simply because we have more of ourselves available,
Hmm.
right? And so we can put that in service of a collaboration or, you know, a co-creation. So yeah, I think it's an important aspect, and certainly in my work it is central. You know, I really always want to work with the whole being.
Very interesting. And what are some innovative techniques you use to help clients uncover their full potential? And if possible, give me an example.
Mm. So again, as I said, the first step is slowing down. So opening, making space, right, to really listen into ourselves and really check in. And that's where innovation can happen. You know,
Mhm.
that's where the creativity emerges. And it can be creativity about, you know, leading one's our own life, helping each other in a coaching relationship, for example, you know, helping your client. That's when, you know, we are truly inspired and it really the work flows by itself in a way, right? It's an organic emergence. Um, and yeah, because I really believe in this connection with what truly matters, you know, for us. One example can also be a typical question, you know, what is make a list
Mhm.
of things that give you joy or that you want to
Right.
experience in your life, right? So reconnecting with really this current of joy, right? With what is energizing, inspiring for us is
Hmm.
so important at any moment, at
Yeah,
any phase of our life.
fascinating. And my last question for you, Ilaria, what legacy do you hope to leave behind through your
Mm,
work as a coach and a mentor?
mm. You know, what I really would love to leave behind is simply more joy, truly more beauty revealed in the world, and this idea of remembering who we are and the genius of humanity, you know.
Correct.
So yeah, that's
Very interesting.
yeah.
Very interesting. And on that note, Ilaria, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking to me about your own journey. I'm grateful you shared a deep story from your own life. Thank you for talking to me about so many different aspects of coaching, of transformation, of grief coaching, hypnotherapy. I learned some new things from you today. Thank you also for speaking to me about how you handle cultural diversity. How do you help navigating how do you handle navigating coaching leaders through planetary or societal crises? And also, thank you for talking to me about so many different types of ways you are supporting so many leaders, not just in your own country, but around the world. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.